Thank you for joining us as we run back another season of We Do a Little Pod. We're kicking off season 2 with one of our favorite people in the space, Cath Simard. Cath is an incredible adventure photographer from Canada known for her surreal, cold blue mountain nights, where she blends reality and imagination through landscape composites. We dive deep into Cath's fashion career, leaving the fashion world to work on farms in Australia, falling in love with photography, her meteoric rise in the NFT space, and so much more. As always, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Deeze, Andy, and guests may own NFTs discussed.
This is Andy.
Yeah, I'm Deeze.
GM, everybody. We're here with a special episode of We Do a Little with no other than Cath Simard. We are here in Miami at Art Basel, vibing heavy, and just excited to spend the next 90 minutes or so and go down some rabbit holes with Cath. So without further ado, Cath, thank you for coming to our Airbnb, coming to vibe. Really glad to be here.
I'm vibing with the Bud Light Lim.
I still can't believe you got Bud Light Lime.
Is this your first time drinking Bud Light Lime?
I think so.
It's
Since
just
I'm 16.
It felt like the vibe.
This is the vibe.
Yeah, I was saying it's definitely the last time I had it was in college. And it was not by choice. It was just like you're at a house party.
Like the lime? It's kind of like...
I mean, I could see it.
Ceviche.
It's probably that, but it's missing
Did
like
you say
a real
ceviche?
lime.
Yeah, is that...
Yeah, I think you mean cerveza. That's
Yeah,
like beer in Spanish.
Ceviche
is like the fish dish.
Yeah.
Limey fish dish. I'm in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I feel like that's popular here. Is that not popular?
So Bud
I'm going
Light
to assume it's
lime.
pretty popular here.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking lime things. I'm like...
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
great.
Ceviche is kind of fucking crazy, though. Because, like, they don't actually cook it. They just, like, cook it in the, like, acid
It's
or
raw.
whatever. Yeah, I don't really understand it, to be
Oh,
honest.
it's so good.
It's really good.
And it's really tart.
Yeah.
It's just like you're eating... Sometimes tastes like shrimp or tuna with just straight citrus.
Yeah.
And it's like a warhead, but like an adult
Warhead, but for adults.
Yeah. But
Okay,
anyway,
sorry, I got us off track.
not to start off the pod with ceviche, but so for some backstory, Cath, I feel like you were one of the first photographers that I personally fell, in love with the storytelling of your work. Back in June 2021, which feels like
5 years.
It feels like 20 years.
Oh my God, I
But
aged.
we met on a Twitter space because Justin Aversano was like, yo, Cath Simard's down in the audience and she just released this badass super drop. Like, bring her up here, come talk. And then I think we spent like 5 hours just talking about all sorts of kind of adventure photography / like composite / a bunch of other artists came up and shared their stories, and it was a crazy space. But I feel like that was, for me, the start of my like rush into collecting photography, and that was just like such a pivotal, I don't know, space in my life. So for the people who don't know, like that started my personal descent into loving photography. And it all started with a piece called Perseverance, which we'll put in the show notes. But like, I want to just start from the beginning of your kind of NFT journey. Like, how did you fall into the NFT rabbit hole? And, how did you start on Super Rare or get accepted to Super Rare? And like, let's start with that.
Yeah. I feel shameful, but I learned first about NFTs on TikTok. Crypto on TikTok. And I think I saw one random video about NFTs. That was back in January 2021. And I got super intrigued, and I realized that Dave Krigman, he was already in that sphere. So I reached out to him and chatted a bit, and he kind of like explained to me about NFTs and crypto. So then I started trying to understand this thing that were NFTs and crypto. And I was spending a lot of time on Clubhouse, like obsessively, like 12 hours a day, nonstop. Wake up, Clubhouse, all the way to... I don't know if you guys were like that. It was like, okay, wait, you were not on Clubhouse, right?
I didn't really go on Clubhouse much
had
either.
A Galaxy phone at the time, which was not an iPhone, and Clubhouse was iPhone only. So at one point in like February or March, Gary Vee started going on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I used Mrs. Deeze's phone and made a clubhouse. And then I would just listen. Like, I never talked. I would
Yeah.
just go in the audience and listen.
Yeah.
And I only talked maybe a few months later on like a Justin Eversano Save Art Space clubhouse.
Yeah, I feel like I downloaded it early on when it was happening, but it kind of felt, I don't know, like the people who were talking, it didn't have the same authenticity as Twitter Spaces do.
For
where
sure.
it kind of felt like someone was trying to sell me something anytime I was listening to a clubhouse. And so I just I didn't, after listening to a couple like that, I didn't give it a chance to really find the stuff that was actually good content or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy looking back to like that January 2021 era you mentioned.
Yeah.
There were multiple catalysts that brought in a bunch of people. Like, that was the Top Shot month where the big sports gamblers were like, we're buying Top Shots together. And then all these sports gamblers came in. And then like on the opposite side was the Clubhouse, because a bunch of, I felt like, more artists were on Clubhouse rather than like sports gambling degens. Did you know Dave Krugman like well before NFTs? Because we talked to Dave on the pod, and I mean, he's been around Instagram since forever.
Yeah.
I curious, like, how did you meet Dave or know him and get onboarded by him? Because Dave has onboarded so many people in the space. It's kind of crazy.
So I've known him since, I believe, 2021, when I met him on a Sony Alpha trip in Scotland. So it was my first time meeting him. And we kind of like kept in touch, and he was helping me a lot when I was asking him questions about NFTs, and he was already like, he's a teacher, right? He's amazing at teaching stuff to people. Even like his work with Sony, like he teaches a lot about photography. So he was really, really helpful. So I've known him for maybe like a year and a half before. And it was pretty cool.
It's so interesting. I have so little knowledge of like that whole photography space, but we've had a couple different photographers on now, and they all kind of, I didn't know it was such a tight knit kind of community of people on Instagram and other social media platforms and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had people who were like, when did you join Instagram? I guess that's a good question to throw out here.
Oh my God.
Like, when was your...
That was like back in 2012, I think. And I was doing fashion.
Yeah.
So that was completely different. I was like posting my outfits, and which feels like so different from like who I am today. It was really interesting. So I was doing like fashion styling and modeling, and I was like posting almost every day what I was wearing, like designer stuff. And then eventually I left the fashion industry, and I started traveling, and then I went to Australia. And at that time, I just deleted everything related to fashion. And then I started posting photos of my trip in Australia. And it kind of like started from there. Like, so that was like a massive transition from fashion to photography.
What year roughly was that switch?
2014. That's when I left Canada, and then I went to Australia for 2 years.
And how did you, before that, like get into fashion and find that to be kind of your career at the time? Like, how did you get in the fashion rabbit hole? Because I feel like Annie and we like different things about fashion here and there. And definitely curious to...
Yeah, and it's interesting because even looking back at my styling work, I find some pretty cool similarities with my landscape photography work. So very like blue, dark, geometric. It's like when you put them side by side, they kind of have like the same spirit, but it's completely different like mediums. So I got scouted by a fashion agency. I don't know how to pronounce this freaking word. Agency. Okay, well, I'm gonna say agency.
I like that better.
All of my
sounds
friends,
nicer.
Sounds classier.
all of my friends make fun of me because I can never remember the freaking word agency. So I'm gonna say agency. I was around 15, and then they scouted me as a model. So I did modeling for about 10 years. And then eventually I got interested in fashion styling. So I left Quebec. I went to Montreal, studied fashion styling for about 3 years, and then I started working as a fashion stylist in Montreal. And I went to New York, built my portfolio, and then I came back to Quebec a little bit to do a bit more fashion styling and modeling. So yeah, so that's it. It was pretty pretty fun. I love like the creative side of it. I love the artistic direction. But man, I sucked at making clothing. Literally sucked. I was
So you were making clothing as well, or trying to?
The word trying is important to hear. The word trying. I sucked. I was literally like, I was trying my best to make this black dress, I remember. And I handed it was like my final project, I guess. And the teacher looked at me and she was like, I tried. Yeah. So I'm not really good at building stuff with my hands, but I guess I'm good at the artistic direction side, which I think also helps me a lot with photography because I like to pre-visualize everything that I make in the field, if that makes sense.
I think it does too, considering how you make your compositions, right? Like it's multiple things coming together to make this final piece. So you're visualizing all these moving parts and how they interact and then come together in one composition versus like, you know, just taking the still shot of what's happening. So I definitely see that in your work. Yeah. I curious, do you like keep up with fashion anymore? Like ever try to create anything? Or are you like, no, I'm done with that. That's a past part of it.
That's a really good question. I feel like I just did such a crazy cut with like, fuck fashion, fuck everything related to fashion. And then, you know, went to Australia, became a freaking banana farmer. Like,
we've got to talk about the 2 years in Australia.
Yeah, wait. Is that for real or is that a joke?
No, that's for real.
All right, we got to hear more about that. We can go back to that though.
I think I really try to make like the biggest cut possible, just like completely dissociate myself from the fashion world. But now I have to say I kind of enjoy it. Like I enjoy it. Like I still have a taste for beautiful styles, like good clothing, like, you know, a little, you know.
Yeah, a little flair.
A little flair. I really appreciate it. So I'm trying to maybe be a bit more balanced because it's been a part of me since even I'm a kid. Like when I was a kid, my parents told me I was obsessed with fashion. So it's been there for a while. So I think it's just good to find back like a balance with it, if that makes sense.
So going back to Australia, you get to Australia and you say you spent 2 years there. Did you plan when you got there to spend 2 years there? Or was it more like I'm going to go for 3 months and it kind of turned into 2 years?
Yeah.
And then if so, like, what was the day-to-day like? Like, you got to Australia. Did you pre-find the banana picking job? Did you just, like, boots on the ground find a banana farm? Like, how did that look? And then, you know, what did you do in Australia after you were done picking bananas that, like, made you fall in love with?
Yeah.
Adventure.
Usually I'm a huge planner, but for this specific trip, I just really wanted like to do a 360. So I remember I just like booked the ticket, got my working holiday visa, which is something you need to apply in advance. And then when I got there, I was at the airport with my ex-boyfriend at that time. And we were like, okay, what do we do now? So we had like no plans. So we were at the airport applying for jobs. And we got a job really quickly. That was not banana picking. It was cherry picking. Okay. And that was like on the main island of Australia. So we did that for like, I don't know, like 2 to 3 weeks. And then we got fired because we were too slow.
Wow. So how competitive was the cherry picking? Like,
hey, competitive.
Is it all by hand?
Yeah.
Is it all hand?
Yeah. You have like a technique and then like they double check each cherry. And if like more than, let's say, 10 cherries doesn't have like the stem, you're fired. Yeah.
Wow. And
did they pay
how much did it pay an hour?
We were paid like, I think like a base wage per hour. And then we had like a bonus depending on how many cherries we were picking.
Okay.
So I was slow, and I loved eating the cherry.
I could see where you might not been what they were looking for.
It's like, no, you don't understand. I was really fast. I just ate most of them. Like, I am really fast, though, I promise.
Literally, like 70% of my food intake every day was freaking cherries.
Are you sick of cherries now or
No.
No.
Oh my God. Those cherries down there, they were massive. Like they were like an apple. Like
they have bigger pits than a normal cherry too?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Just everything bigger. It was amazing.
so you get fired from the cherry job 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
You hit the classifieds back up in the newspaper and start.
What other fruit can I work for?
Yeah, what else they got?
This cherry
Banana.
thing wasn't so bad.
Bananas are a little bigger. They might be easier to
I
grab.
can't eat as many of those in a day, so I won't get fired for that.
Probably only eat like 2 bananas max.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so were you also just like picking bananas at the banana farm?
So the banana farm was way different. Actually, the banana farm was in Queensland, so a little bit more north of Australia, and it was a pretty tough job, like physically. So my first job, I was on like a tractor, I guess, with like the arm elevator. I don't know what you call this. Ah, I think it's even called a cherry picker.
Oh, like it has a bucket in it that you go up in?
It has like an arm, and then it elevates you.
Yeah.
Then okay.
It is a cherry picker. Yeah.
Okay, so I was driving. So you see, the cherries never left me. I was driving a cherry picker, and then the goal there was to spray the pesticides, and then put a plastic bag around the banana bunch, and then tie them with like a specific type of knot, and then just move on to the next tree, and then do the same thing on each of the bunch. And I did that for 3 months, and then I got ripped because you're like constantly moving and like arm up. Oh my God, I was ripped, but I was not healthy because I was in contact with the pesticides every single day. So then I developed some rashes on my body, and then I lost, like, no joke, half of my hair. I still have like holes in like on my skull. Oh no. Yeah,
That's not great.
No, not great. And then I had to keep working there because I needed money. So they transferred me into the shed where all of the banana bunch arrive. And there's like one job that nobody wants to do. And it's the one that they asked me to do. And it was like, yeah, sure. Like it was just
pesticides.
We're just going to need you to eat the pesticides, make sure they're safe.
We need someone to test.
Yeah, we need a taste tester.
Yeah. So my job was to take off the plastic bags of the banana bunch. But you know when those bags, they stay there for like freaking, 6 months? You know what accumulates under there? Frogs, snakes, spiders. And I had no idea. So like my first day there was hell, because usually you need to wear like full sleeves with like gloves and stuff. I had freaking shorts, like nothing. Oh my.
Wear a hazmat suit.
Oh my God. I remember that was like crazy. So like you would take off the bags, and then there was like frogs, sometimes squished frogs, snakes, and then freaking trillions of spiders just like crawling into your arms.
And so they didn't warn you? Like, hey, new job, just so you know,
No.
a lot of spiders.
No.
Like, I feel like that's
You're
something that
gonna
you should be
open the
warned
bag
about.
and you're gonna see some shit. No one.
No.
They just assume that you would assume that.
Yeah.
Of course, there'd be a ton of creepy calls.
Yeah, I go into every new job assuming there's a lot of spiders. And so that's just like the baseline. Doesn't matter what the job
When I
is.
go into my office and
Yeah.
open the door, I just expect it to be covered.
It's better to be prepped, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Bring some Raid with me.
Yeah.
So
I did that for a long time.
And so, wait,
What's
so
that?
there are snakes in this thing. Are you killing the snakes? Are
Okay.
you
Dead.
removing
I'll tell you
the
what you need to
snakes?
do. You see a snake, you try to grab it by the tail. You grab it by the tail, and then you need to twist it like this. And then you need to put it in the bucket, and then you close the bucket.
I thought I've seen the ones
What?
where they whip it like a whip, like they grab it by the tail and like smack its head off the ground, like
No, we keep them. We keep
keep them?
Yes, you
oh,
keep them.
shit. I thought like
What do you do with them afterwards?
You
was
release
like
them
your
in the
job?
wild,
oh,
and then they go
Are they
back into the
endangered?
freaking
Like,
bunches.
I don't. That's crazy. I wouldn't be fucking with a snake. I would be like, no,
How big were these snakes?
Sometimes
No
they
way.
attack you. You know.
Yeah.
no
You're like,
shot.
you're like, oh, wow.
Would you say it helped with your reflexes? Now you're
Oh
like,
yeah. I'm great with reflexes.
how big were the snakes? Are they like
Um,
foot long, 2 feet? Were they fucking
maybe
anacondas?
like this, and then like this. So I mean, they were
So it's
not
not like a garden snake.
Yeah,
like
it's
those
pretty
little
big.
ones.
Yeah, it was decent snakes. But the worst ones were actually when you were putting the bags around the bunch. So that's when like the really big freaking boa, I don't know the name, were like hiding. So that even when like I was outside like putting the bags, you need to like keep an eye out because sometimes it can just jump in your face.
I'm gonna appreciate my bananas a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
After
know that you
hearing
had to
this,
fight
like,
snakes for
Yeah.
bananas.
I've really probably taken for granted just going to the grocery store and
Yeah.
being like, oh,
Yeah, I think you
Chiquita,
should.
give me 6. Like,
Okay, so how long did you fight snakes for at this job?
I think I fought snakes for maybe like 8 months.
Okay, that's a long time.
And then at some point I got really good. And the thing is, nobody wanted to do that. So I was kind of happy because I had like my little routine, and then, you know, you get like absolutely covered in dirt and shit all day. And I'm just doing my own thing as in like introvert in the corner, doing my own thing. So I like that. But eventually they asked me to start packing bananas. And that was bad. That was bad.
so you would rather clean the
Yes.
bags with the snakes
Yeah.
than pack them?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the issues with packing? Because when I think of packing bananas, I just think like those you got a bushel of them or whatever. Are they
Yeah.
called a bushel? Did I miss?
A
That
bush.
sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The packing, it's very mechanical. So like you're always doing the same movement for like 8 hours. The thing that I was doing, which was taking out the bags, it's kind of like, you know, it's like adrenaline. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going to come to you. Every bunch is like a new adventure. You know?
There was only 4 snakes in the last one.
I think what you're talking through right now like totally explains how you've gotten to where you are and what you do
Yeah.
as a career.
Like,
It's like, yeah, there's the easy job where you just move bananas back and forth, but that was just fucking awful. I really preferred when the snakes would jump out at you.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
I was really happy.
It's the
just really
adrenaline.
sowing the seeds for what was to
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
after leaving Australia.
There you go. There you go. And then just to add something, most people who go to Australia, they only work for like 3 months because in order to get your second year visa, you need to work just 3 months. I worked there for like a year and a half. And people were, what the fuck are you doing still there? And I
What
was
are you
just
doing?
having the best time of my life fighting with spiders and snakes, and people were confused, and I loved it.
How did your family feel about that when you were just like, yeah, I'm going to Australia. I don't want to be back, but like, it's what my heart's telling me to
I
do.
think they were confused. They were very confused because I went from like this very girly girl working in fashion to this like hardcore farmer fighting with spiders and snakes. I think they were confused, but they have always let me do whatever I wanted, like always. So when I told them that I wanted to leave sciences, because I originally studied in biomedical sciences, to go study fashion, they were like, okay, like, we don't necessarily approve this, but if you want to do it, do it. And then when I announced them that I wanted to leave fashion to go do farming, they were like, okay, you do you. So they have kind of been supportive with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
So when you were in Australia, I guess, where did photography come into all this?
Yep.
You're out here, you're enjoying the adventure of just opening up a bag of snakes and spiders. Like, where does the camera come in, and
Yeah.
how do you fall into this more like crazy adventure photography?
Okay, so what was the iPhone back in 2015? iPhone 3?
4?
Yeah, 3-ish sounds right.
I had a 3GS in 2012, so I feel like it was newer.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess 2014. That was like sophomore
Is
year.
that- is
that
that
was
one
probably
with
like
a C?
like a 4 or a 5,
Was there one that had a C?
4 or 5.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
4S. I feel
Okay.
like.
So let's say I remember I was shooting with a crappy iPhone, and like sometimes I had like days off on the weekend, and I would just go hike, not really hike, really more like explore the area, take some photos at the beach, some waterfalls, and then I would share my adventure on my Instagram page on social media. And there's a point where there's a company, a bandana company, who contacted me, and they were like, "Hey, we love your photography. Would you like to take photos of our products?" and I was like, sure. Like, I've never shot. Like, I'm not a photographer, but I pretended that I was a photographer.
Of course.
Of course. So they had like a little budget, and then I took the money, bought a camera, a 6000, and then I started taking photos of people wearing the product, like doing like hiking, cycling, whatever the hell people are doing. I don't even remember. So I started shooting like people wearing the product. And I was not really enjoying that. So maybe when I started photography, I didn't even really like photography, to be honest. But then I finally finished my farm work. So I decided to take a trip to Indonesia, Hawaii, and the Canadian Rockies. And that's where I kind of like started experimenting with the camera. I remember all of my photos from Indonesia are completely blurry. I did like one of the best trek there, and I still look at those photos. I'm like, God damn it. Like I wished, but I think it's part of like, you know, learning photography and knowing when you need a freaking tripod. But the one thing that I remember is when I arrived in the Canadian Rockies. For me, it was the first time I was seeing like giant mountains like that. Massive peaks. Like, okay, maybe it's not Everest, but there's still like 4,000 meters peaks. I don't know how much is in
It's
miles,
pretty
but
damn
It's a
tall.
lot.
yeah.
It's high.
Yeah, it was pretty high. And I just really, really fell in love with the place. And I also started doing scrambling. So scrambling is kind of like hiking, but you make your own path up a peak. So you're like, okay, you drive, you spot a peak, you're like, okay, let's go there. And then you kind of try to make your way up there. So sometimes like you need to use your hands, and it's a little bit more, yeah, I guess complicated than hiking. So I really fell in love with that. And that's how I started doing landscape photography.
That's crazy that it was just like, you picked good places too.
Yeah.
Canadian Rockies, Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii
was the
was
other one?
nice.
Paul-
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Where's
Yeah.
your favorite place that you've been to?
Oh no, you cannot has this.
Okay. If all right, well,
Top three.
I'll change the question, and maybe this will make it easier. You don't have to say your favorite. Right now, in this moment, if you were told you could only do one more trip to go take photos somewhere, where would you choose?
Oh,
and
no.
so
Oh,
you
you
could
might be
say
biased.
You
You
could
might
say,
be
"Oh, I
biased."
changed my mind next week."
should
Doesn't
say
matter.
China
No
or
one hold it
something.
against you.
Well, I'm going to China.
I know, that's what I was saying. You'd be biased.
God damn it. I know I go there a lot, and I know like half of my portfolio is from there. But Patagonia is just next level.
I really want to go there. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to do anything super exciting, but I really want to go and see it. It's
Yeah.
just like, it looks so beautiful.
Patagonia is just like those peaks, they're so jagged. And it's not something that you see often, like around the world. Like you will see like really beautiful peaks, but Patagonia is kind of like flat, and then you have this like massive mountain range with like really distinctive shape.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so photogenic as well. I feel like so I'm gonna go back again 2023. Jesus, I've been there I think five times now, but I just want to go explore the backside this time. So it's like about, I don't know, maybe 4 days to go on the backside of this mountain range, and that's where like a lot of climbers go. I don't know if you guys saw the Alpinist.
I was actually just about to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what
movie
a fucking movie.
Hits.
Yeah.
But two, it also just seemed like such a quaint little town that they're in and everything. I don't know. It seems
Yeah.
like a really lovely place.
Chalten. Oh my god.
I recently have just like become increasingly like interested in small towns.
Yeah.
Like every time I go to like a little small town and I can like go to the diner, like the one place you can go to eat, and like the one bar and stuff. It's very, I don't know, something about that is like really fun.
Yeah.
It seems like a really kind of beautiful little town around the mountain.
It feels really wholesome. Like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
good vibes when you know, like, oh,
such
this
good
is like
vibes.
everybody in my town, and we're kind of all together.
Yeah.
You kind of lose that in somewhere like New York City. Is 8 million people. You don't feel like super close to that many. Whereas like the smaller your town is, like the more close you feel to the strangers in the town.
Yep, exactly. And that's where I was for 3 months in 2022. So I stayed there for a long time.
That's a really long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And where is there like did you get an Airbnb? Like where did you stay while you were there? Do they have Airbnbs there? How does that work?
I was staying at an Airbnb. My other friends were staying at a hostel. But, you know, as a self-proclaimed introvert, I like to have my own space. So I was just a little bit like on the edge of the town. It was a really beautiful little apartment. Bedroom was like upstairs, downstairs there was like the little kitchen. So it was pretty cool. But man, the Wi-Fi was shit. I couldn't be on Spaces for 3 months. 3 months.
That's tough.
That's tough in the NFT space.
Imagine, guys, would you
Deeze would have gone out of business.
I mean, I fucking 3 months could be a nice break, but I think I would have got withdrawals after.
Deeze would have bought a satellite.
I would have.
Yeah.
I've been calling up Elon and just trying to make something work ASAP. Like, what do I need to do to expedite this?
Yeah.
I feel like when I think of Patagonia, I think of like some of the pieces Tylecki's done, and I have one in my house.
Yeah.
And it's just like
he's been there a while. He's been there, I think, like probably, I would say 3 times more than me.
Wow.
He's addicted.
he feels like the master of Patagonia
Oh,
in our little
100%.
circle.
Oh, yeah. You look at his portfolio, I think it's like 90% is from Patagonia.
Yeah.
Every single angle, every single condition. And this guy shoots. Like, I went shooting with him. I'm like the opposite as him. I usually, like, I just observe. I'm super slow. And then maybe if I like something, I'll take a shot. He's like, bing, bang, boom, drone, time-lapse, camera. He's like so intense. And sometimes when the light is like amazing, let's say he loves to shoot at golden hour, I'll just sit in the corner because I love like shooting at blue hour and night. But he's like, bing, bang, boom, like
You're just
everything.
watching it.
Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm
vibing.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's like something interesting, the process of
Yeah.
getting into the mindset for these, because it is different for every creator. But like, you seem a lot more laid back and more just kind of letting the experience almost tell you what, in a way. The snap, boom, boom feels like you're just trying to, like, I don't want to say like take like a scattershot approach, but you're just trying to capture cool moments in like good environments. Whereas like your approach feels more like, let me just see like how this journey goes, and then
it's a bit more like, maybe more like calculated. So I know there's some people that get super inspired when they're in the field shooting. But for me, I like to pre-visualize the pieces. I like to go back to the same spot many times, like the piece that you collected for me. It's like, I just need to experience the place first, even sometimes without my camera. And then I build up this idea and then I go back. And then at that moment, maybe I'm a bit more intense in like capturing the pieces and a bit more focused on what I need to do to like achieve my vision. So that's usually how I'll approach photography.
Have you ever had an instance where you like go somewhere and build an idea, and then when you're trying to like actually capture it, you're unable to kind of get what the idea was, or feel like it didn't come out the way that you thought it would?
Yeah.
And so when that happens, do you just like stay and keep doing it, or do you go like, fuck it, maybe like my idea didn't actually work out in real life?
Yeah. I think I'm pretty stubborn. I like to go back to the freaking spot up until I have the shot that I have imagined before. So like there's places in the Canadian Rockies that I have hiked like 5 freaking times. And they're not small hikes. They're like 20K, 1,200 meters elevation gain. Like, you know, you need to go there and the night is freaking tiring. And then I go there, I try, I don't get it. Then I try to come back like as much as I can. And that's actually what I did with PERSÉVÉRANCE. Is I went there a first time, and that was like a crazy trip. Like, I don't recommend doing that. I'm telling you, sometimes I think about it and I'm like, this was crazy. Like, even me today, I don't know if I would do it. Like, yes, but anyway, so.
Wait, why? Let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So basically, this is a spot in the Canadian Rockies. It's called Mont Asniboine Provincial Park, and it's 30 kilometers just to hike in. So I don't know how many miles this is, maybe 15?
Yeah, it's around 15 miles.
15, 16, yeah. And my idea was like to go there and then capture blue hour night and then maybe spend the night at a campground. And I was just maybe delusional in terms of maybe having the possibilities to find a campground, because those spots are booked like a year in advance. So I literally just hiked in with all of my gear, 30K in bear country. And I arrived at the campground, and then the park ranger was like, no, there's like no space. And I was like, fuck. So I just decided to keep going up until the spot that I really wanted to capture the scene at Blue Hour. And the conditions were horrible. So then I found a little cave, which I thought looked pretty cool. And I just spent the night in that freaking cave.
Show you the piece, because it's from the cave.
Yes, it is the cave. Like a gremlin.
I have an idea in my head of which one it is,
Yeah.
but I'd have to look to be sure. I'm going to see if I'll pull it up real quick.
There was like mouse poop and stuff. It was not literally like crawling like this.
Quickest way to find it's probably Deeze Vault Super Rare on Google, and then that'll bring you to my Super Rare account.
Yeah.
All right. You can keep talking. I'm listening.
Okay. So anyway, conditions
You're in the
were bad. It was raining, clouds, so means like no night photography. Some clouds were covering the peak. So for me, when I do composite photography, I need like a clean edge on the mountains. So I literally just like spend the night up there, kind of like waking every hour to see if it would clear up, and it never did. So then the sunrise came. It was beautiful, but I was kind of pissed because it was not what I wanted to capture. And then I literally just hiked back like the next day, and I brought one protein bar. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
So you went on a 30-mile hike off one protein bar. Yes. Basically.
Yeah. Because in my mind I was like,
round trip
I already have like,
That's what I thought it was. It's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're up in the cave. Like
Yeah.
that is a really rare view amongst all the photography I've seen. It's very rare that you're that high up, but like covered in a cave. You're normally that high up, like on a summit or just really high up, but you're never really covered.
No.
And then to see another peak with this like stars is crazy.
And that specific cave, I mean, it's on the way all the way to the summit, but most people see it, they don't really realize that it's actually a cave. It looks like a overhanging kind of rock. So I like it because people don't really think that it could be like a nice frame for a scene. And I don't think there's that many people who have photographed it either. So yeah, so I didn't get the shot. So I had to wait a year to go back. But that time I was a bit more prepared. So I just stayed in the area for about 5 days. And I was able to capture like everything that I wanted. Like the conditions were better. But, I think that kind of like showcases that perhaps I love to go back to the spots and try again up until I get it. Because once I have like a shot in my mind, especially that spot, I was like, you motherfucker. Like, I literally hiked like 60 kilometers and nothing. I was mad. And then it just stayed in my mind for a year. And I was like, I need to go back no matter what. And I did it. And then I captured everything. And it like everything kind of like was brought together really like naturally, I guess.
And so with this one, the name obviously sounds like it wasn't very hard to come up with. Do you have a hard time naming these, like your artwork normally, or does it kind of come to you as you're visualizing the art in general? Or like I'm fucking awful at naming things, so I can only imagine like I would be so bad at it.
I have a list of titles in my phone. I love to like if I hear a word or a sentence or anything that speaks to me, I just write it down. And for this specific like collection, because it was like part of my Genesis collection, they were all French titles. Mm-hmm. And I think that this one is, pretty descriptive. So I love titles. I think titles and descriptions are even like part of my creative process. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I think that's something you do very, very well as a creator in the space is like the way that you not only just put out a piece, but the way that you title it, the way that you describe it, the way that you have behind the scenes footage. Like a lot of times you're showing the process. I remember the Blue Eye, the video on Vimeo that was showing off your Genesis collection. And it was like a behind the scenes of like, here's all the hell I went through to get these shots.
Yep.
And then it was in a very cinematic form. It wasn't just like wide angle shots. It was like very well edited and like very professional and just like really caught my attention that summer in a sea of noise. Yeah. And it was like, wow, like this really sticks out. And then talk to you on a Twitter space and it's like, phew.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you liked the video. It was a lot of work. I think we took like 2 months to shoot it.
Oh, I love artists who have the behind the scenes video. Like we were talking to Jay earlier. Jay does a great job of just doing like 20-minute long form talking about the whole process behind the drop, what each piece means. Like that connects me so much more with art than like the description on Super Rare.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
It just feels so much more tangible, and then you can kind of see, like, I hate to use the phrase like proof of work, but it really is this like proof of work of like, here is the process to get this shot.
Yeah.
Especially if it's especially helpful, I would say, when you're a newer artist or someone trying to like come into things, where like when it's for your Genesis collection and everyone who, especially in the NFT space, maybe doesn't know who you are or isn't familiar with your work previously, it's like, okay, this isn't just like some random person who found some images online, then like I don't know any better and now I'm buying some random garbage. It's like, okay, no, like it's very clear that she's put in the time and energy, and it like makes it way easier to kind of like build conviction kind of on who you are and what you're doing and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's something like I try to tell artists that I talk to when they ask. They're like, you know, is it worth doing that? And I'm like, you know, it might not get 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 views on YouTube, but like for the 50 or 100 people who watch it, like it might really move the needle on a collector. Yeah,
I totally agree. And I think that perhaps like my latest collection from Patagonia, Blue Patagonia, which I drop on Nifty Gateway, I literally hired a videographer to fly from Quebec all the way to Patagonia to follow me for 2 weeks just for this drop. And I really think that it helped, you know, just showcase the behind the scenes and also the mood of this collection, Blue Patagonia. Like we shot everything at Blue Hour. Like there was like a really thoughtful kind of like artistic direction behind this to just showcase the message a little bit better. And I do feel like it helped a lot rather than just, you know, dropping 2 images.
Yeah.
For the people who like are new to photography or don't know, like, what is Blue Hour? Just like, I know you love it and I know what it means. But like, I feel like just defining it's probably good because a good amount of people who listen might not know what that means.
So it's this moment right before sunrise or right after sunset. So it's when you barely see any warm light anymore. And it's usually pretty flat. So most people, they don't like really stay or shoot Blue Hour because it's not really impressive. So most people, they stay for like the crazy sunsets with the crazy colors, like kind of like the obvious. Like even if you go to the beach, watch sunset, usually when the sunset is done, like most people leave, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why I love Blue Hour, because it's this like really quiet moment that most people kind of like overlook. But for me, it's like my favorite time to capture. And also it is the perfect time to capture a scene if I want to do night composites in the future. So Blue Hour is like a massive part of my creative process. I need to be specifically at this time shooting the landscape if I want to create a night composite, because taking a shot at night actually introduces a lot of grain and noise in the image. So that's another like reason why my images are mostly like noise free, is because I use that technique to combine the Blue Hour foreground with the night sky. And I really think it also contributes to maybe having a specific style and like a signature style, just like developing this technique.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So I guess taking it one step even further back, you like told us how you first started doing photography, and then there's now. I feel like you've learned like a fuck ton in between then. Were you just like on Reddit forums and shit, like reading stuff? How do you like, I only know the word Blue Hour because you said it. Like, I don't even know where I would go to learn what that was in the first place if I was like, I really want to get into photography and particularly like landscape stuff and all of that. And so like, once you kind of were like of the mindset of, okay, I'm going to do this thing, how did you start learning? What was like were you Googling like what are cool places to go hiking? Like I don't even know how I would get started. So I'm really curious what that kind of period of time was like.
Yeah. I think that the learning curve was pretty quick. I would say that where I learned the most was when I took a trip to New Zealand. That's where I learned night photography. They have like dark sky reserve. So the trick is to take a lot of shit photos, like so shitty that you're like mad at yourself. And you're like,
I wasted the trip and all I got is these shitty photos.
oh my God. Sometimes I look back at my library. Actually, I lost a lot of photos from New Zealand because I didn't have a good workflow for saving the files, but that's another story. Yeah, you need to shoot a lot. You need to shoot like so much. And I think also you need to be obsessed with your learning. I would say that the number one mistake that people make is that they think that it's easy to learn photography, right? It's like so accessible these days with your phone. It's like, oh, it's easy to take a good photo, but like really try to like take a really good photo with like no noise, sharp front to back. Like it's almost impossible to take a shot front to back without learning focus stacking or like, let's say like techniques that are a little bit more advanced. So my number one advice is to be obsessed. You have to be obsessed with learning about it. And then as far as like where to go, I would say that the best spot for me was looking at like trip reports, blog posts on Google. And what I like about it is most people, they take shots with their phone when they do like trip reports. So let's say All Trails is like one of the best spots to go if you want to learn about a trail. Most people, they just take shots with their phone. So you kind of have an idea of what the spot looks like without the heavy editing that you see on Instagram. I think Instagram is also a good spot to see, but most of the time those images are like super heavily manipulated. So it's hard to know like, okay, what does this spot really looks like? And then the second spot is Google Earth. Like I'm obsessed with Google Earth. I am like in my bed every night. I'm like, if I could go there, like in the freaking Antarctica. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I can try to find like 5 helicopters to drop me. And then I go crazy with that. Like I love Google Earth. So I would say, yeah, those two spots. And then maybe the third is social media, but never rely on social media for knowing what the spot look like. It's always manipulated, you know? And then as far as for the techniques, yeah, just like take a lot of shit photos and then watch some YouTube tutorials. Like I'm completely self-taught. I have watched a few editing courses, but maybe 5. So just a lot of trial and error. And I would say that when you do a lot of trial and error, that's also how you learn like your own techniques and your own style. I think it's good to learn techniques from like other photographers when they have courses. But when you try to figure out like shit on your own, that's how you come up with a unique style that is like proper to yourself, you know, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I think it's definitely a really interesting time. I totally agree about being obsessed. I think like that's something that kind of in society in general, it's like everything is so accessible that now it's very easy to take like a pretty good photo. Yeah. But to really like to get that jump from like pretty good to like really, really fucking good,
yeah,
it takes like so many more hours of work than
orders
to get
of magnitude.
Yeah.
It's like the 6 out of 10 is like 10 to the first, and like the 9 out of 10 is like 10 to the 5th.
Yeah,
like it's just
probably
like
more.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, like this is massive.
Yep. So it's kind of like a, and then you reach a plateau, and that's the plateau that most people they have difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Are
there any new skills or things, whether it's photography or just like getting places or anything that you're like currently learning or like researching or excited about that you're not doing in your like current work but want to do?
I would love to start tracking stars. I think that's fascinating. I hate equipment. Like I literally don't like to drive cars. I don't like to drive boats. I don't really like any type of electronics, but I have to because
You don't like to carry a bunch of telescopes and
I hate it. Literally. But I see the results, and a tracked Milky Way or a tracked night sky is so freaking clean. Like, but it is a learning curve. So I would love to try that for sure. And also I just want to keep like stepping up my game with composite photography. I just like, I think it's such like a like unique, misunderstood medium that I just really want to keep pushing myself and keep delivering better and better composites. I started doing composites like super early on in my creative process. And I think I have improved, but in my mind, I can always be better for sure.
Speaking of like always improving and being better, you recently did a really unique drop that I've never seen done before. And I definitely want to talk more about it because I think it is just kind of crazy. Like, I want to ask how you got the idea. So, like, first off, the essential drop is that a collector creates a landscape with AI and then bids their landscape, and the winning bid, Cath will go try to find that landscape in reality. So like everybody who bid also got their AI like as an NFT.
Yep.
But then the winner, she's going to try to recreate this landscape, and it looks like an imperial vibe in China with a mountain background.
Yeah.
Is the winning bid. So Cath is going to go to China.
I'm going to China, baby.
To try to recreate this photo. And it's like, how did the idea come up to... Because you've kind of dabbled with
awesome,
AI before. There's
really
Metascapes, which is an AI project that came out in the winter of last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did this idea for having a collector create an AI landscape for you to find in real life like come up?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the commission idea actually came last December. My idea was just to mint a black square and see what happens. But I was like, it's kind of boring, you know? There's like a little something missing. So I kept the idea, and then I just try to like research more ways to make a commission interesting. And then DALL-E became accessible to pretty much everyone. And then I started playing with DALL-E. And I was creating like fucked up shit. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And like crazy peaks and like mixing cactuses with freaking aurora, which cannot exist in the natural world. I don't think so. So I was just creating like crazy stuff. And I was like, oh, I would love if like those landscapes like existed. And then it gave me this idea. I'm like, oh, okay, wait. And then I kind of like build on this idea of like creating an AI landscape and then a commission. And that's how I developed this project. But I had like a lot of challenges about that. So first I needed to find a partner where people can like create AI images on the spot. And I love Eponym. Like they were my first introduction to AI. So that's why I contacted them. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's like crazy. But actually my first idea was to just let people create images and submit them. But the problem with that is that with AI, it's not every platform in AI that actually gives like rights on the image. So if I would move forward with that, you know, let's say, I don't know, any AI that doesn't give like any commercial rights, then I can get in trouble or they can get in trouble. So the only way was to actually work with a partner that has like a built-in AI lab where people can use the AI and then create the landscape. And that's how I build on this idea. And yeah, like within 2-3 months, the project was ready to go. So yeah.
No, I thought that was like such a fucking unique concept. I've seen a lot of AI, but like not used in a way where you're creating, you know, a piece based off it. So
yeah,
how is this China? Is it going to be like a composite of like a mountain range? And
Man, this is a great question.
Figure it out when you get there, right? Like you're not even on the ground. You got to let the vibe tell you.
Right now, China is closed.
Yeah, like
so I can't even go.
Not, yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll just keep an eye on it because I know that the collector would love me to go to China. There are other places, you know, that you can capture this type of scenes with the red
Can I see the
candles.
photo real quick? Would it be hard to pull up?
Hey, I think it's maybe somewhere on my phone in my banana bag down there.
Is there a way that I could find it if I Googled it?
Yeah, if you go to her Twitter.
Yeah, my Twitter may be in
and
there.
then you just go through her media tab probably, and then look for it's going to be a mountain range with a red imperial type building on the right hand side with like a body of water.
Jesus, you studied.
All right, I'm
Yeah,
going.
I mean,
Are you coming?
I was paying attention.
Going to China with me.
I pay attention to this stuff. So You saw me and Redbeard making gnomes, Redbeard gnomes.
Yeah,
we were trying to find a mushroom forest with 100 Redbeard gnomes.
Oh my god!
And
What you created
we
was
spent
fucked up.
way too long making the AI. By the time it was ready to bid, we're like, holy shit! Like it was over 10 ETH. I was like, oh man, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one.
Yeah, right. I think I found the spot though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little old town in China. I love researching, so I've already spent like 25 hours researching that. So I found a spot that could look like it and that has like a red temple and that I can go by the lake and, try to create something that looks like this.
So how does that process of finding that location in real life work? Like,
I was going to ask the same thing.
Google Earth and just like drop a pin in China and then drag the street view guy around and be like, where are we at? Like, where is this thing?
Yeah.
Is that the process? It feels like in my head, that's the process. I'm like, what would I do? I'm dragging the little yellow guy.
Yeah.
And I'm spinning 360.
You can do that. I did that a lot. But like, I did just like a basic Google research. So, like how the person created that was a text to image. So maybe you need to keep that same kind of like mindset. It's like, okay, China Mountain Red Temple. Put that in Google, see what happens. And then, maybe if you see something that kind of looks like it, then you can make more research. Okay, I found like a weird, I don't know, name that I cannot even pronounce. And then I made more research about that. And then that led me to other research and then more. And then I get in my bubble for like a few hours and then I lose track of time. And then I found it, like a little old town in China. I'm ready to go. But I think it's going to be challenging.
To get there.
Yeah.
And then you have to bring all your gear there.
Oh, my gear.
And then they're like, probably like, what the fuck is all this stuff?
Yeah, they have a lot of like policies there. Like, you need some really specific visas to access like specific regions. So I might need a guide.
So we need some friends.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, like any Chinese community. We're going to need some help.
I feel like we might have some connections.
We can see what we can do.
Yeah.
Get you a guide or something.
Yeah.
Let us know. Slide into the comments if you're listening to this on YouTube, or just DM us or add us on Twitter. Like, we 100% serious.
Yeah, there you go. I'm down to have a friend there. Apparently, you need a guide.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't be going there without at least probably 2 or 3. I would make sure I had a backup, like a secondary, and then like a tertiary, just in case. Like, hey.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not getting up a creek without a paddle over in China. No, thank you.
I do most of my trip alone, so my first idea was like, I'll figure it out. I'll get there.
You're so bold. No. Like, I love the fuck it. Like, she's the embodiment of fuck it, we ball. Like, just
yeah. I'll go to China. Sure, why not?
By myself with all the equipment. Just figure it out. Like, I'll make a friend.
Yeah, there you go.
So, much less exciting question, but something I've been thinking about. No, it's not bad. But also, like, when you think about something like, okay, I'm going to, I know this one's a bit unique, but you're like, all right, I'm going to China to try to find this thing. It's probably going to take me a couple weeks, whatever. How do you think about, or I guess, do you think about like budgeting these things? Like, I guess, like I was thinking about it as well when you're talking about the Nifty Gateway drop.
Yeah.
And you're like, I hired a videographer to come with me and all this. Do you like sit down beforehand and say, okay, I'm going to make this many NFTs. I think I'll sell this much worth. And so I'm willing to spend this much in hiring a videographer and flying people out. Is it that much of a process for you, or do you kind of just like wing it and see how it goes?
Yeah, I definitely have to budget because like I've done some projects that I have hired either videographers or editors and that led to nothing. Mm-hmm. So like that happens for sure. I think for China, I'm like, I'm going to take whatever I make on this project and I'm going to try to budget as much as I can. That's definitely something I need to keep in mind, especially that ETH isn't like super high right now.
Yeah, tougher times.
Yeah, it's tough.
Way different vibe than last Art Basel.
Yeah.
Last Art Basel, ETH was over $4,000.
Oh my,
we were like,
jeez, why did you remind
everyone's
me
like,
of
all
this?
right, well, where are we going tonight? What are we buying?
Oh my God,
what are we minting?
Like, we could stay on the beach for another week and it's less than an ETH.
Yeah,
guess we're staying on the beach for less.
Yeah.
Now it's like, flu economy. Like, it's, we're out here.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there's free food in the lounge.
Yeah, like, I'll just eat lunch down there. They got a kind bar for me.
I was like, I can bring my tent, perhaps. This time.
There's always a place for me out there with the tent.
Yeah.
But speaking of all that, did you guys see the thing about 11 recently that's been going around on Twitter?
The crypto bros are down bad and not spending money at this ridiculously overpriced nightclub in Miami.
No, come on.
And apparently, there was great banter on Twitter. Gainsey, just like an absolute fucking champ, calling out one of the founders of the club for buying the top of Solana and him dumping a bag on him. And now, like, they're not making the revenue they were making last year. And it's just like, it's a reminder that when shit is crazy and ridiculous in this space, like, try to zoom out and just take some chips off the table, because you know that, like, that music isn't going to be that loud and that party isn't going to go on forever.
Yeah.
And it's always a good reminder that we get a little too lost in the sauce.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I'm sure that's something that you have to, like, going off the budgeting stuff, like, just thinking about, like, financial literacy in general.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of the artists we've talked to and stuff, it's been, like, a very important thing is kind of learning about that. And I'm sure you, like, take some lumps along the way. Have you always, like, I guess going into all this, were you kind of mentally and, like, financial literacy prepared for everything that was, like, going on in selling NFTs and having crypto and all of that? Or, like,
Cath is like, fuck, I wish.
And it's so funny because, like, I know so much about taxes, but you know, it was the saying that, like, you can't, it's like the shoe man is great at fixing other people's shoes, but his own shoes are kind of crappy.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit in this boat.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with NFTs and crypto, you kind of learn as an artist being paid in crypto if you're a gambler or if you're not, because it's gambling. Keeping everything in Ethereum. I'm a gambler.
Shout out. Let's
go. We like the gamblers.
Yeah,
we are also gamblers.
Yes, it's funny you should say that. I am a gambler.
Yeah, we are gamblers. I'm a gambler, and I made some really poor decisions. I was able to pay all of my taxes, but the rest, I'm kind of like long-term view. I tweet about that all the time because it makes me feel better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I try to have a couple separate, buckets. I have a long-term bucket, which is like, okay, this is stuff that I'm not going to touch over a year. Like, I know it's going to be here. But then I have, like, short-term buckets, which were a lot of the PFP stuff that we had over the last year. And it's like, when it's time to leave, it's time to leave, and the party's over, and you just have to sell it. And
I think it's something, too, that, like, I definitely have learned a lot about, where, like, last cycle in crypto, I got into crypto in, like, early 2017 or so.
Yeah.
I was broke. I had no money. And so even at the top of the crypto cycle, when it was like, oh my God, I've made so much money, I had not made that much money. It was just a lot of money for me at the time, but I could like get a car.
It was awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, this is crazy. Like this could almost pay off my student loans. Like this is amazing.
Yeah.
But so like losing it, I like learned a lot when everything went to shit, but it wasn't like you really, really learned, because it just wasn't that much money, where it wasn't like some insane effect on my life. And so like, I feel like this time around has been very instrumental in like a very different set of things you need to learn, where it's like, I think back to what I had a year and a half ago, and fortunately, like NBA Top Shot's a great example of that. But where it's like, I think back to what I had then, and like, fortunately, I'm still fine. It could be a lot worse. Yeah. But like, I like basketball. I don't like basketball as much as the amount of money that I could have had if I sold my Top Shot moments a year and a half ago.
Point in time where Anya's in the fucking, was it Bloomberg or
it was the Wall Street Journal?
Wall Street Journal with his cat, talking to them about how much money he's made on Top Shot. And it's like probably the sign that price just sold a little more. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
It was really funny. I still remember talking to the guy, the nicest fucking dude who did that article. And he was talking to me, and like we had talked for a while at this point, and he was like, so are you, like, he was like, this doesn't have to be on the record. Like, are you going to like sell some of it? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And he was like, I would really sell some of it. I guess I was like, he was just, it wasn't an interview question. It was just him being totally candid. He was like, I would sell some.
Not financial advice, but like, I don't normally interview a lot of 20-some-year-old dudes who just turned like not much into a very nice place in New York City off digital trading cards in under a year. So like maybe you should sell some, and then we're all over here. But like, dude, it could double again.
Oh my god!
Like,
but you know what I mean though? Like I feel like you learn so much each time around. Where it's
Yeah.
like now there are things that I did where there's things I did differently from last time, and now there's things I would do differently from this time as well. And like you're just kind of slowly building up. And so I think it's good to have that long term. This was all a long-winded way of saying I think it's good to have that long term mindset of like, at least to a certain extent, like I'm not going anywhere because I don't think this is going anywhere in general. And like I've learned a lot, so next time this all happens, I'll be better off for it. And like I'm sure that you will do things differently next time.
Oh, I'm greedy as fuck now. I'm greedy. I sold my squiggle. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, I think that's one of the things that I was
You gotta
talking.
put your mask on first, is what I always try to tell other artists. For that Logic song, where he's just like, put your mask on first. You're on the airplane, and you can't help someone else till you have your mask on first.
That's it. Exactly.
I minted that squiggle. So like the fact that I was able to mint that for $30.
Thanks for paying for my taxes.
And like it's perfect.
There you go. Yeah. So now I'm taking profits.
Yeah.
That's
all you can do.
And you'll get to a point where there will be things you'll keep and you'll love, and there will be other things where you're just like, there's really a better opportunity for me to sell this, whether I'm getting a gain that I can use to pay off other taxes, or maybe I'm getting a tax loss that is offsetting my tax bill, which is where I'm at, where it's like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to wipe out a lot of gains with two cells.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tax losses, I don't know how long they last for, but they roll over for a while.
Couple years at least.
Yeah.
It's not like,
it's not a bad
you
deal.
have to use it in the same, like if you harvest losses in 2022 and you are negative going into 2023, you can offset gains in 2023.
Yep.
So
That's right.
it's always smart. Like I got a wealth manager last year. That was something I never thought I would do, but like getting his advice was good enough just to like save me from not being broke after taxes.
Yep.
Because I did not realize how much I would have to pay in taxes. Like when you trade 2 ETH into like a good collection, and then you look back at like your cost basis on that collection, and then you're realizing you're like, whoa, that all came from 2 ETH, so that's all like profit.
Yep.
And then you're just like, okay, well that's the game. So next year it's like you got to plan for all that shit a lot better.
Yeah.
I think that's something that everyone in this space should think about, especially if you're an artist. Like,
do
you have any advice? Like, do you sell like 50%, 100% now? Like, what's your advice for
right
people?
now? I always sell 50% almost straight away, and that's the one thing that I wish I had done in 2021 for sure.
Because that would, at the bare minimum, cover all your taxes and give you a little bit
extra
of buffer based off of whatever range of like cash savings.
Yeah.
And then you would have 50% still in ETH, which is the gambler side of you, which is saying like, hey, ETH could very tangibly go up 3 to 5x over the next 3 to 5 years. Like, I like that risk. So I think that's something that like people really need to think about, because they were not last year.
Oh yeah. Remember when people got mad at Beeple for selling the ETH on his...
People sold $69 million, that $69 million NFT.
He did?
And then he sold all the ETH right after.
Yeah. And everyone's mad, and I'm like, that's fucking awesome, dude.
He had to pay like,
you. Yeah.
He was gonna have to pay like what, 30-some million in taxes.
Yeah, that's it. He has to.
So like,
He
and
was
then
smart.
he built that massive compound where he's doing a bunch of physical IRL shit. Like, that's gonna do better than ETH sitting in his MetaMask.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, at the end of the day, like the fact that people get mad about that stuff at all is like pretty ridiculous. Like,
if people would pay more attention about their own situation and try to better their own situation, and they wouldn't worry about tearing down other people's situations that they can't control.
There you go.
Like, don't waste time on things you cannot control, because it's just going to put you in a bad headspace.
Do you ever experience, as an artist who's done very well for yourself, like if you ever had any, obviously don't name names or anything, like weird encounters with other like creators or people where like they have like unfair expectations of you if you like collect a piece of their artwork and then like sell it in the future, or different things like that have ever like been uncomfortable?
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe after I did my big sale for Hawaii photo back in September, there were a lot of expectations for me to collect immediately when I didn't even have figured out my taxes. So like I didn't end up like collect for quite a few artists, but I did have like a massive pressure. And it's funny because when I sold my ape for 100 ETH, which was exact same amount, there was no pressure of anything. So it was like the difference was insane. You know, me as an artist selling a piece for 100 ETH versus me as an artist
flipping an ape. Yeah.
Flipping an ape. It's like, oh my God, congratulations, versus like the amount of backlash and hate that I got with that specific piece.
I wonder if it's just jealousy. Like people at the end of the day, they look at it. Anyone could have flipped an ape, but not anyone could have taken a photo that sold for 100 ETH.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
kind of like a thing where people look at it.
Yeah.
It's shitty that we have to deal with that, but like it is what it is.
You know, I think it's like I think it's great to collect other pieces. I wish that more people collected as well, especially when you see big sales. I think it's just like healthy to, you know, get back a little bit of the profits like in the system and supporting emerging artists. But I don't like that it's like an obligation straight away the next day, like the next hour. Like
you don't have 6 pieces already in a tab.
I mean, I have a list of pieces that I. It's like, can I just like breathe for a second? Yeah, no.
Like, let me think about what just happened, please.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Do you ever have like, I always hear like horror stories from collectors, like not from collectors, but like of bad collectors. You ever have any horror stories? Like not naming names, but like.
That was a smirk. Like yes, I do.
I know.
That was a yes, I do.
Like not naming any names, but
yeah,
like, I feel like there are some collectors.
There's this guy on Twitter, Deeze 5.
Real dick.
He will not stop.
Yeah.
God, I went on a space one time and he just won't shut up.
Yeah, I have some weird stories which I'm not good, because even if I tell the story, the person.
True. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not super common though. I don't know. Like it hasn't happened a lot. Maybe like twice in a year and a half.
That's good.
I have received an unsolicited like selfie, shirtless selfie.
Was he at least in good shape? Like was it?
No.
Was he Gabe? No, I love Gabe. We gotta get Gabe on here one time.
100% we have to get Gabe on here. Yeah.
It was so random, like barely any conversation, just like, you know. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Block. No, I don't. I don't know. For me, it's not like that common. But at the same time, I can be quite vocal on social media. Sometimes when I have something to say, I do say it. So I don't know if maybe they would be afraid that I would say something, which I would absolutely do.
Good.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. You talk your shit on Twitter. It's great.
I love
when you do it.
You're one of the best Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
No. Well, sometimes I think it's important.
So actually going off of like on Twitter stuff, I feel like one thing that I noticed from your account was, I don't know what the origin of it was or anything, but you started also minting work on Solana. And I feel like there was a bit of time where that, I don't know if it was actually contentious, but like following your tweets about it, it seemed like there was at least some amount of pushback from people about you doing that or something. What was, I guess, one, what made you decide to also go and do stuff on Solana? And then what were people upset about?
So for me, I just really wanted to mint on another chain. I didn't understand the mentality of like absolutely sticking to one chain. You know, like there's a great art on Tezos. You collect on Tezos. Yeah. I haven't started yet. I think I will pretty soon.
If you ever want onboarded, I got a one tweet tutorial.
So. Yeah. Hey, perfect.
All the links you need.
Yeah. So for me, like the entire mentality was just to try a new chain. And I loved some of the art on Solana. I love some of those guys that were working at Exchange Art.
Yeah, their platform's great.
Yeah, great platform. I was researching a little bit, and that's how I decided to go with them. I think that they had like a focus a little bit more on fine art, which I really appreciated. And the platform is super clean, and that's how I decided to give it a try. But I just like to try stuff, just like, you know, what I did with For Hawaii Photo, you know, what I did with the AI project. So I know it was a bit controversial, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty dumb that it was controversial too, for what it's worth.
And another chain you've minted on is Bitcoin. Like, or
that's true.
Like you have a fake rare.
That fake rare is fucking awesome.
One of
so
the
cool.
best fake
rares. It's really cool.
Thank you. There you go. Yeah. I didn't get any pushback from minting
Aurora
Bitcoin.
Pepe Alice.
Yeah, that's man. I need to change. What was I thinking? Can Pepe? Aurora Can Pepe Alice?
You should have sent me first, and then I would have just sent you the name.
Yeah, Deeze. See, the same way that you have a list of names for our work, Deeze has a list of Pepe memes that you can use.
I have a list of Pepe. Yeah.
God damn it!
I have folders, and I don't have a lot of great names outside of Pepe's, but then Pepe's is it's special.
Yeah, but I totally agree. I think, and I'm glad to see you doing that. I think in general, sometimes it feels like the NFT space can almost be like a little bit stuck in their ways with things, even though it's such an early space.
Yeah.
And so it's like, of course you should be experimenting and doing weird shit and minting on every chain, because like this entire technology is only a few years old. Like that's
it.
Whatever you're doing right now that feels normal and like the way you should be doing it was a totally novel new idea that someone was trying 2 years ago. So like, of course you should be doing that. And so I think it's really cool that you're trying.
And I understand that Solana is not perfect, but so was Ethereum when it started. Like, I think it's just good to experiment, even if it's like a little bit outside of what people do. If
you're not pissing anyone off, then you're probably not doing
anything.
This
is great.
Anonymous Cath Tezos drop.
Oh, hey.
So Tezos is really known for being like low price, bigger edition friendly. Like some artists do 25, 50, 150 editions, 1,000 editions.
Anonymous.
You could. So there are artists, not going to throw any under the bus, but they go from ETH to Tezos. They make a new wallet, and then they just do something like, say somebody who does generative art on ETH will go to Tezos and do AI art, like only an AI, under a new name.
Pretty interesting.
So there's there's situations where it gives you kind of a fresh outlet as an artist without the expectation of anything.
Would you buy from anonymous artists on Tezos? Yeah.
Most things on Tezos are under like 100 Tez, which is like $100, and I will buy anything. Like if it looks good.
She's like, you send me a link, I'll buy it right now.
If it looks good, like I don't really second guess. Like I'm not.
Okay, this person is anonymous, has a Twitter account, like only
a lot of the glitch art
old.
I have no idea the people who they are. Like I follow them on Twitter, but like I don't know.
So if the art is good,
a lot of them have less than 1,000 followers. Just recently, like Sneaker Dad, he found this artist on Tezos called Bohemia, and he makes kind of like an animated Basquiat type vibe. And he was buying his work for like $50, and within like 2 months, dude's on Super Rare selling his Genesis for like 3 ETH.
Wow!
And like he
nice.
Was just new to Tezos and like made art resonate with somebody, and then like got on board to ETH that way. And there's been other people like Xerox is I'm a big fan of Xerox on Tezos, and he did something very similar where he built up this big following on Tezos as an anonymous artist, like no one knows who he is. And then he came to Super Rare recently, and we bought his Genesis as a Megazord. So like me, Will Savis, Redbeard, Guy Norcal, Zanzibar.
Yeah.
But it was like he got from Tezos to ETH. A lot of other artists I feel like do that too. And it's a nice kind of onboarding, especially with this green NFT bullshit that Tezos pushed. Like it really fucked their narrative because they're still saying green NFTs. And it's like, okay, well, ETH is now green too.
Yeah, that's it.
So like the artists who were, pre-biased to love Tezos because of the environment now have to rationally adjust that bias now that ETH is proof of stake, and maybe be more likely to be on board and try something different.
Do you have any particular art styles that you really enjoy outside of photography stuff?
Art styles. You know what? I think when I get obsessed with something, my life evolves around it. Like I don't even like. You would ask me, "What's your hobby?" I don't have a hobby. I'm so obsessed with photography. I would love to try maybe painting. I used to paint when I was younger. That might be something I would like to explore. I also what type? Yeah. I think more abstract. I love abstract painting, a bit like geometric, like big, like textured, like heavy acrylic. I could see myself do that. I like even in my work, I love like very geometric stuff. So I'm sure I wonder actually if you could tell that it would be like one of my paintings if I start painting.
I mean, it'd be really cool to see a
try.
triptych of like your painting and then a piece of fashion that you designed and then like a piece of art that like a photography piece.
You know, it'd be fun would be if you had like a photography piece and then you tried to paint it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun.
I've done that in the past.
I have done a little bit of painting with Mrs. Deeze. I would like put on Bob Ross.
Paint and sip.
Well, we do it like right in our living room. She bought all the paint, all the canvas, and we just put it on our little desk and pull it into the room. But like looking at the wall, I have 3 pieces by Jay, and then I have 2 pieces by you, and I have Bob Ross, and I'm like overstimulated, and it comes out looking horrible. Like it looks like a blue sea on like an infinite horizon, and it just like I try to draw a mountain, it looks like something just died on the page. It's not good. Bob Ross is sitting there. The Bob Ross videos blow my mind. Like when you're watching him paint a tree, he's like, yeah, and it's just a perfect tree. And then you're just sitting there trying to recreate it, and you're like, I don't have it.
It's okay. You tried.
I feel like it's one of those things where I want to be so desperately good at creating something. And every time I try another creative
every once in a while I'm like, it'd be so fun to like try to make something and like, you know, sell some NFT artwork, and I'm just like, I have no talent. I can't do it.
What if I just spent 6 months learning Blender?
Ooh.
What if I just spent 6 months trying to produce music? And then it's like I watched 23 minutes of the one YouTube tutorial, getting the very basics of the app, maybe even not even fully installed, and I just put it down and table it forever. Like the Blender donut tutorial that everyone says to do to learn 3D, it's like the how to ride a bike of 3D. You like make a donut.
Yeah.
I've watched the video, but I just like can't sit down and do it.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. Like I don't have the ability to just like sit down for 3 to 4 hours and just go into like creative deep mode on something that I don't know. Because you have to keep doing it. It's a new habit. So like if you want to learn any of this, it's like you got to sit down every day.
You have to be obsessed.
At least a couple hours. Like if you're obsessed with it, it's all you're thinking about while you're doing other shit anyway. So you have to like sit down for a couple hours, do it, and you have to keep doing it. And if you don't build the habit, it's dead.
There you go. Yeah, every single day. It's hard to learn 3D.
It's hard to learn any creative thing.
Yeah, any creative.
I feel like I've tried so many different mediums. I'm just like, fuck. Like I got Procreate. I'm on the digital drawing tool. I'm like, fuck this. Like I'm on the Paint. Fuck this.
I think that the learning curve for photography is very quick, but then you plateau very quickly as well. Like photography might be way more accessible to learn than like 3D or even painting or other mediums. So
for me, like the only thing I really think about photography with the iPhone is using the grid and thinking of the composition of like the grid. I'm like, all right.
Do you know how to do long exposure with your phone?
I probably haven't. No.
Okay, I'll show you.
It's over there.
Yeah.
Blasting the light on your face, but I'll take that. I only really think about like, okay, am I setting up this composition correctly? Does this make sense? Like, am I sectioning off everything?
But then you have to get out of the rules too.
Yeah.
You have to.
I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. A lot of it probably isn't in the rules. It's like literally just like, oh, this is kind of
the rule of thirds works well. Most of my work, I would say, doesn't follow the rule of thirds.
No.
Now I want to go to rule of thirds to the restaurant.
Oh yeah, in New York.
Yeah.
That was where we had our last like fractional.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
What time is it?
We're getting close to time.
Yeah.
So we ask everybody.
Oh no.
The same question.
Oh no.
It's not hard. It's if you were, or let's say you're writing an autobiography, what would the title of your autobiography be? And we can tell you ours if it gets.
I feel like I have an answer for yours. I have a guess for yours. We'll see if I'm right. I won't say anything. I don't want to lead the witness.
I have a guess too, but I'm probably biased.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say The Life of Obsession. Because when I get into something, I really, really give it all. Like whether it was sciences or fashion or farming or photography, I forget everything else, and I even like sacrifice stuff like friendship, relationships, family. I just get all in. So maybe the life of obsession.
Nice. I like. What was your guess, Deeze?
Perseverance.
Oh,
I love it. Yeah.
my guess was going to be Blue Hour.
Oh.
That'd be good. No, I feel like you're one of the people who just perseveres through whatever like the world gives you. You're just like, you are very down to earth. You realize what you can and can't control, and then the things you can control, you just go like 150% into.
Yeah.
Like I always like really respected that about you.
I appreciate it.
Our my book title is A Lindy Walk.
Hey, an indie walk, yeah.
Because I'm just kind of meandering around life and just seeing what happens.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
What about you?
Mine is, and granted, I like to say it could change depending on the season or where we're at, but currently it's fuck it, we ball. I feel like it generally explains itself, but not necessarily. But more so from the style of I'm not really much of a planner, but I'm also like pretty optimistic with things.
I like
and
that.
So if there's something that I think we need to do or should do, whether it's like personal life or work or anything, it's like, yeah, maybe we don't have it all planned out, don't really know what's going to happen, but like, fuck it, we ball. Let's do it anyways.
Fuck it. Let's go.
That was kind of how this
I love
podcast
it.
started.
that was how the podcast started. We were at NFT NYC, and we were like, yeah, we have a lot of friends here. Like, what if we just rent a recording studio? They have all the equipment, and we just do like 3 of these and see what happens.
Yeah, it's like, all right, geez, I booked a place.
Afterwards, it was like, I really fucking enjoyed this. Like, I got to sit down with people who I'd known. Like, we sat down with Pop Wonder, Redbeard, and then Dee and Jacob from Zora. So I knew Pop Wonder the best of the 3. I knew Redbeard pretty well, and then I didn't know Jacob and Dee well at all. And sitting down and getting to talk to all 3 of them was like, I felt like it was more beneficial for our friendship than like 20 hours of Twitter Spaces. Like getting to sit, make eye contact, not look at your phone, and just vibe with somebody in long form. It really hit different. So we were like, well, we got to keep doing this. Like, there's something to this.
Yeah.
So
this
now
is our first one outside of New York. Yeah.
Yeah. So now instead of people in New York, we're like, fuck it, bring it to Miami. We'll go to events.
Yeah.
Perfect. I loved it. It was really fun.
No, I like that we can just lay back and not really.
Yeah. Now we'll do some jump rope training.
Jump rope?
Yeah, there's a jump rope
What
training.
about the Bud Light? I offered you one, and I don't think you drank it.
I didn't. I thought that Bud Light was for you.
You faked it. Oh,
no!
I
drank a Bud Light. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I will not take any slander on this podcast.
No, Andy. I will vouch for Andy's Bud Light drinking ability. He could have probably finished a 6-pack while we were.
I'm trying to be good though. I need to lose some weight.
Yeah. Could have.
Yeah, if I wanted to.
If you wanted.
The last crypto bull market was not kind to my physical well-being, and so we're taking this bear market. We're getting things back in shape. Thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
I mean,
Really
this
appreciate
has been such a vibe.
Yeah,
I love your glasses.
Fun.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, yeah,
it's fun, like trying to make eye contact, and I'm seeing myself.
You're seeing, you're watching yourself.
Kind of a
Instead, I would finish like this.
Well, for a little bit, you had them up on your hat. Like,
yeah.
We were making eye contact. It came back on. It was just like,
there's a lot of wind here.
Yeah. Oh, it's windy.
I gotta protect myself from the elements.
Yeah.
Like I could feel like it was getting a little cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. Keeps you on edge. Keeps you ready.
Well, none of them overheated.
All right.
But yeah, we can wrap it up.
Sweet. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you again.
Thank you.